and you know, for going from like living in Louisiana and now like going up to Iowa, then all of a sudden it's like, man, 20 degrees feels a lot colder than it should.
Right.
I'm getting to be more of a wuss nowadays. I think that's it. These two would agree behind the camera, but no. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to SHOT Show 2020. This is Gun Talk Live, brought to you by Palmetto State Armory, guys. We're here with my good buddy Logan. Logan, high caliber history, and apparently a new job opened up for you, and you swept right in and took it.
Yeah, new job in conjunction with High Caliber Morphe Auction House, which does a lot of high-end firearms auctions. They have brought me on as their brand new director of social media, so we're going to be doing all sorts of video, Facebook, Twitter,
Right.
Instagram, covering it like they never have before.
Really?
So
So in that job, I mean, because given your background, and if a lot of folks may not know your background, so give them a little idea, and then we'll get into how that's going to translate into your new position.
Sure. Yeah. So I have a degree in historic preservation and museum studies, and I've worked for the National Park Service and the Smithsonian Institution and the NRA museums, and then I went out on my own as an
Right.
arms historian. And so I've got that historic aspect of the way
Right.
I look at things. You know, I mean, we can look at arms as technology, but I look at them as history. You know, I spent a lot
Right.
of time down the rabbit hole in patent records and
Really?
you know, and all sorts of stuff. And I approach it that everything old is new again. You know,
Right.
and you look at stuff that Browning patented in the late 1800s, and you know, H&K is referencing it, you know, just a couple years
Right.
ago in a new patent. And so it's all building upon what was laid down before.
Okay. Now transition that into what you're going to be doing here in the upcoming weeks and years and all that with the auction house. Are you going to get a lot of hands-on work with these guns
Yes.
that come in, and how's that
Yes.
process going to work for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the exact mechanics of it will yet to be determined, but in order to be able to cover it all properly, yeah, I'm going to have to fondle it all.
So you
know?
still get to be hands-on.
I still get to be
and that's
hands-on.
important. And you do some consultation and consultant work
That's
for
correct.
other museums and stuff like that. Will that will continue through High Caliber?
Yes, yeah, that'll continue. That was one of the contingencies of me taking the job. I said I want to keep High Caliber,
Absolutely.
and they said no, that's great. You know, rising tide raises all ships.
That's
So,
right. That's right. They got a good one. I'll tell you that, because there's few guys out there, and if you're not familiar with Logan, go check out his social media channels, because he really is doing some really cool stuff, and he'll go places that you and I wish we could go, because he's going into the back bowels of these history museums and seeing some really cool stuff. And you just had one come across your Instagram feed, and it was an old flintlock rifle. Tell us a little bit about that one. I think it was you were telling the story right before we came on about a family selling an old heirloom, but it was worth it.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a Dutch flintlock musket used during the American Revolution, and we've all heard the phrase "Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes."
Right.
And we're all familiar with the Battle of Bunker Hill. Well, this is the gun that Private Simpson defied the "Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes" order, and he fired the first shot of the Battle of Bunker Hill, and it passed down in the family for 240 years. And my new employer, Morphe, auctioned that back in the fall, and so I handled that one back then. That's what helped, you know, kind of lead to this position. But you're right, I do get to go behind the scenes and stuff. Just a couple days before I came here, I was in the gun vault at the Smithsonian.
Oh my gosh!
John Browning's patent models.
No way.
Yes. Yes. Like if you pull up the patent for his one of his rifles in 1879, you look at the drawing and you're like, oh, well, why did they draw it exactly like that?
Right.
It's because that's the exact dimensions of the patent model.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is fascinating.
It was really cool.
So here on the SHOT Show floor, how does a historian look at all these new guns? I mean, because you have to have a little bit of a jaded heart when you come in here, because it's FDE. Hey, we were launching in like a green model, and
Right.
So how do you approach this? I mean, what are you looking for?
Sure. Well, you know, thankfully, a lot of the companies acknowledge their history. You know, last year, Ruger celebrated 70 years. Mossberg celebrated 100 years. this year, Marlin is celebrating 150 years, and if you go into the Remington booth, they've got a huge Marlin timeline in there with all sorts of historic arms and stuff. And so thankfully, the companies are recognizing where they came from and acknowledging that. And that's always a lot of fun for me to go and look at the old stuff, and it really helps you understand how the company got to where it's at today.
Right.
So,
well, are we getting any comments? You guys don't forget to comment. You got a gun historian right here. How often do you get a guy come up? I'm guessing you've gone to the NRA shows. How often do you get a guy saying, "Hey, I got my old pappy's old musket. How much is it worth?"
Right.
Do you get that a lot?
I do. I've had that happen quite a few times, and I've got some friends that run auction houses, other smaller auction houses throughout the country, and they'll text me pictures and be like, "Does this gun look right? Is it configured right? Is everything Or there was one he sent me. It was a Harper's Ferry musket from 1844. And there was a tag attached to it. This is one of the guns that was taken from John Brown and his men during the raid in 1859, and my friend's like, "Think of that legit?" I'm like, no. It's not.
I hate to break your heart.
Exactly, but at the same time, you would hate for people to go on thinking that they've got something worth $1 million and they're banking on it. Maybe they're thinking that's going to be the retirement plan, and then it's worth $100 or whatever, So you want people to know the truth.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I think you're one of the best providers of that truth, especially on all those historic pieces. So walking around the show, you're here for a few days. And now you went to range day yesterday. What did you shoot that really stood out to you?
So one of the things that I shot yesterday, I thought it was really cool, is there's a company called Flux Defense. And they have...
Jace was talking about this one. Jace was like, "Man, I wish I would have gone by that booth and shot it."
It was really cool. So they haven't created a firearm. They've created a chassis that your firearm components sit in. And it basically takes your pistol and turns it into a PDW.
Okay.
And so it's got a quick deploying pistol brace that activates with your finger right on the side. They've designed a holster that it can fit in. And the new one that they just came out with, it's the MP17. It's designed to work with the M17 that the Army just adopted, right? And I think that's really cool because the military has never officially adopted a shoulder stock pistol of any kind. There have been plenty of attempts in militaries throughout the world to have shoulder stock pistols like the Browning High Power and stuff during World War II. And so that's neat to me. That's the 21st century take on those earlier pistol stocks. And I just thought it was really, really cool. And plus, I was like, "Oh man, I got to get one," because I just got one of the M17 surplus pistols. Yeah, I was lucky enough to snag one.
You're lucky because they went quick.
Yeah, they did go quick.
So, which is great. And what are you seeing in the means of the used gun market and how that's advancing? I mean, are you seeing like a shift from guys like having to have the new stuff to now it's kind of there's almost not a culture shift, but a shift in focus onto those older guns?
Right. Well, it's interesting because people fail to realize how quickly time marches on, and the AR-15 platform is now CNR eligible. It's classified as curio and relic. If you've got an 03 FFL, you can get, an early AR. As long as it's not full auto, sent right to your house, and people forget that the AR platform is CNR, and it's, we look around SHOT and everything's AR this and AR that,
absolutely.
But the design is old enough, that
really?
So it's changing, and those guns have become incredibly collectible, the early ARs, and like Brownells has had tremendous success with their retro line, and there's good reason for that, because the original collectible guns are expensive, and average guys like you and I can afford to purchase these other ones.
Well, I'll tell you this: Logan's way above average. All right, I feel like I'm like talking to a mad scientist right now. And we've got a comment coming through.
Stephen Mayberry says it sounds like you have a super fun job, and Chris Ramos on YouTube is asking if you've heard if there's any chance that Browning is reintroducing the B-78.
Yes, I do have the world's greatest job. I do have a ton of fun. They say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, and I haven't worked in years. And no, I have not heard any rumblings from Browning. about that. That would be really cool.
It would be cool.
But nope, unfortunately, maybe that'll be SHOT Show 2021, and we'll talk about it then.
Yeah,
you know, maybe.
No promises, all right?
Yeah.
No promises.
Yeah.
We can't make promises up here. They're not willing to cash.
That's right. That's right.
But, all right, guys, if you tell them where to go to find out all about you guys.
Absolutely. So, again, my company is High Caliber History. I'm an arms historian. I don't work because I love what I do.
Exactly.
And highcaliberhistory.com is where you can find all of that. You'll find Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that content's there. And if you have questions about Granddad's gun or anything like that, let me know. You know, reach out.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help with that.
And like seriously, I love you. You're probably one of my favorite Instagram channels to follow because it's always something different. He's always posting like all these unique guns and stuff that we really fail to we forget.
Right.
But that's where we kind of started. So
yeah.
So give Logan a look, and don't forget High Caliber History. Some impressive stuff.
Live from SHOT Show, presented by Palmetto State Armory. For more great gun content, subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. You can always watch the Gun Talk channels on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon. And of course, you can always find us at guntalk.com. Thanks for watching.